Hey, it's the Bennington Show on a Monday. And yes, we are back from Austin. And the place looks clean and nice. So I'm very happy about that. I hadn't heard anything bad from the neighbors. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. And come see me. I'm coming home to New Jersey. Can't wait to get back to the state of my birth.
The motherland.
Oh, yes. You know, when it comes to Jersey, I don't even go to Old Jersey. I put all my focus on New Jersey. Chris or Vito or whoever's going to read it.
Ron's performing at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey, April 27th and Saturday, April 28th. 2 chances each night, 7:45 and 9:30 p.m. Go to thestressfactory.com for tickets.
All right, before I get into Austin, Gail, how did the staff perform and how much fun was it?
You know what? We had so much fun here. I had a great support team. I had Vito. I had Jen. We had great guests, Christy Cello and Tom Sharpling. And honestly,
That's great bookings.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
People were coming up to me in Austin and bringing up the Friends TV show. And I had been doing my own radio running around that time. I'm like, what about Friends? What about Friends? They were trying to tell me that they're a Joey or something. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the late, great Barry Crimmins warned me that this day would come.
He did. And, I thought about him a lot because he had been predicting a coup for a long time. He said, one of these days I'm going to turn on the radio. I'm going to hear your voice and I'm not going to hear Ron Bennington's voice. I think he really...
What brought him joy about that? Why is that a joyful thing, Barry? And I know you're in heaven with baby Jesus right now because you were wrong your whole life about that.
I thought about him a lot, and he really would have had a kick out of it.
Let me guess, Christy Cello had a lot of energy?
She did. She had a lot of energy, and she was excited, and she was like, like every other second. It took her about a good 10 minutes to just relax on the fact that I was pregnant, and then she would just look at it and point at it, and she was laughing anytime I touched my belly, anything related to it. She just thought that was very funny.
That's she's great, and 100% of the people I talk to me about the fact that you're pregnant. 100% of the people on the street. Half Astronaut says he has a present for you, but he goes, I know you guys live in small spaces up there, so it might be a little too big. I don't know. I want to go through you first.
It's true.
But what he showed me was ridiculously beautiful. And I only saw his wife for a second, and she is exactly the way you want her to be, man.
She's so cool. I love her so much.
She has an antique store now, and said she would love for you to come down and go through stuff with her.
I absolutely would, because she has the best taste. So that's the exact person you would want to run a shop.
Do you know what is funny? She said me and Gail have the same taste.
Now I'm embarrassed.
That's why you think she has the best taste. All right, 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. I'd love to hear anything out of school that took place in here.
Yeah.
A lot of people said this to me, and I did not bring. Well, we got to explain this. So. We put together this idea for the Judah show, which became like a presidential press conference. And we had all these ideas of how to flash the room, all the things that we could do. And it was truly one of the funnest things I've ever been involved in my career, particularly since it came together last minute. But I said to Chris, I go, I'm everywhere down there. They had me on so many shows.
Yeah, you were so busy.
So I said to Chris, I go, should we try to hire somebody here to help you, or could Vito come in? And Don just okayed. So after your show, I don't even think you knew it on Thursday.
I found out just as the show was ending that it was happening. Just as the show was ending, I'm like, what? You're hopping on a plane?
He hopped on a plane and came down, and they put on a show. These two guys did all the production because, like I said, I'm down there with Chris all week, I barely saw Chris because he was working on his shows, which was Unmasked with David Cross. By the way, doesn't like Donald Trump.
Really?
Not a Donald Trump fan.
Really?
Is actively campaigning and getting votes together against Donald Trump, registering people. And that was great because I've never had to walk out on Unmasked before, but we did.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really... I hope that he was pleased with that.
Dude, he had walkouts during his special. Who's ever heard of a special where someone walks?
Look, you got to walk a few people. That's going to happen.
Normally, it's your crowd, though. Like, you go to the Comedy Cellar, you're going to walk some people, maybe. You know, you're at the Comedy Store, you could walk people because they're not necessary. But you have to be a David Cross fan to show up at the big David Cross Theater,
Right.
which, by the way, that special was shot 2 years before at Moon Tower in Austin.
Really?
Yeah. So, so that was, I mean, he's such an original, you know what I mean? And he's so driven. So that was fun. And then the next day with Judah was big fun. There's pictures up on the iBang of the world champ. See
Holy
this?
shit.
You can see how these guys flashed the room. So you got that electrical flag besides Judah, these balloons. And by the way, we didn't really tell Judah anything about this.
So he walked in and just saw.
Yeah, he saw it. There's
campaign ready.
Judah posters, and the crowd was all into it. But Judah had just won the tennis tournament that they played.
Yeah.
So he gets out of the car and he's exhausted, right? Because they make him, and he's like, dude, I'm kind of old to be playing in tournaments. And he's just drilling everybody. So I haven't even seen these yet either. There's the line of people
Oh, that's awesome.
going around the block for this. All the, we couldn't even get all the people who showed up into it. You got to show up early at Moon Tower and keep going. There's the
Holy shit.
crowd.
It looks so wild.
And they got banners and balloons, and Chris had like these ridiculous Uncle Sam blow-ups that I've never seen before.
They're 6 feet tall. They were huge.
Now here's the problem: those things had to be blown up, right? And
Oh, no, I hope not by mouth.
Vito was in a car with this giant gas thing. I mean, this thing that looks like a torpedo that you got somewhere out of town.
Yeah, I had to go to Raquel's party store, which was just somebody's house that was converted into
my
a pinata
God.
shop.
That is, by the way, that is an Austin business where you show up and there's statues in someone's living room for sale.
Mostly pinatas. I like a lot of all your pinata related needs and others.
All right, let's keep going down. There they are coming in. You can see the Judah posters that
That's
people
so
have.
great. Everyone got a poster.
Yeah.
That's
Look
awesome.
at that line. That's amazing.
Holy shit.
And there's the room.
Oh my God,
And-
it looks amazing.
And this was completely done by Vito and Chris. And again, because I'm running around doing other shows, I didn't see the room either. You know what I mean? So I come into the room in real time and I'm like, what the fuck?
Holy shit. So you must have been shocked too, like you weren't expecting like
dude, I
this
know
level.
these guys. They don't do anything well. And this thing, look at it. That's tremendous.
Dude,
So-
I'm most shocked because all of this done without a lady's touch, like the visuals and
Well,
everything.
you can see it's a very masculine setup.
True, but
I mean, this thing had more of a Trump feel than a Hillary feel. You know what I mean? But everybody's going crazy. There I am. Look, you can see the stage. There's those things. Look at the presidential seal. These things, and I'm seeing it all for the first time. All right, keep going. The goddamn Comedy Jam guys wrote a song, I believe, that afternoon. Like they weren't supposed to be in the show. And who did we run into?
Avery Pearson.
All right, so Avery, who's done the show a couple times, we're telling him what we're doing, and he's like, "Oh man, that sound like I just see him smoking in front of the place, like
Yeah.
where we smoke cigars." He's like, "That's fucking amazing, man. Can we get in?" And I go, "Well, yeah. What song would you do?" thinking that they're going to do Born in the USA or Fortunate Son. And he goes, "Oh, I'll write one."
Dude, that's awesome. Avery's the best.
And
Jeremiah Watkins and Josh Adam Myers were there as well.
Oh, that's so great.
yeah, and those guys are amazing. But he had just lost the ping pong tournament to Judah.
Yeah, it was Jeremiah Watkins and Judah Freelander in the finals of the ping pong
I
tournament.
didn't know that Jeremiah was a good ping pong player.
Not only is he a good ping pong player, but he was training for it and he was dressed for it, right? And so Josh Adam Myers is like, yeah, man. I see him down there, and he showed up. First he's like, he's really training for this. He really wants it, and man, he's good. I'm like, that's great. So then I see Judah in the back room, and I'm like, oh, and I heard Jeremiah is a good player. He goes, yeah, he is a good player. I beat him 11-0, but he is good. Like you could be good. You can't play on Judah's level.
No way. That's awesome. Oh my god.
But so he leaves the ping pong tournament, comes down and plays sax and sings backup with us. It was fucking, and none of us had heard the song. And then Judah is like, we're backstage. He's like, hey, you want to hear the song, Judah? And he's like, oh, no. I'll hear it out there. And so Judah was just finding out that all these, and then we had those crazy parody songs.
Yeah, from Sal from here at Sirius XM. He's done a bunch of songs for us.
Yeah.
He's great. And what songs did he have?
He had I'm a Real American. And
All right, yeah, so we brought him out to some Judah version of I'm a Real American, which, by the way, I'm not even kidding you, was very exciting.
People were losing it.
I was one of the people losing it. I'm like, So that was unbelievable to start the show with that. And actually, Vito had written me a bunch of jokes to bring him out to. Like, what were some of the jokes, Vito?
Judah is the sole delivery man for Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so, and then I would take it to like, who is the sole delivery? And the crowd would shout, Judah, right? And again, I thought that those were from Judah's acts. He had written all these fucking funny jokes. So I go, all right, well, I got to run this past Judah because this is his act. And Vito's like, no, I wrote those.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And they were all great. They were really fucking funny.
Holy shit. That's
and then
awesome.
Then I got caught up with having people chant Judah. That's Judah coming out, and that's the top picture of that electric thing behind him. And then I just have to say this. So he orders a burrito and is eating it on stage. And the joke was he was really hungry from the ping pong tournament and really needed a burrito. And then he was just riffing on that about what a proper American burrito is and what an he's very pro Mexico, by the way.
Yeah.
And that was just I don't know what. Oh yeah, so there's the line of people that came in to ask questions. There were so many websites represented. My favorite being Ask Jeeves. I still go there for all my search needs.
Oh man, this is crazy. I can't believe
It was one of the funnest things I've ever been involved in my life.
The energy in that room was just batshit crazy.
It was crazy.
Chanting and craziness. It was so goddamn fun.
It was like cosplay, but I'm not lying. At one point I was like, I really do think Judah would make a good president. You know what I mean? Like, he is really good at a lot of different things.
That's what happens with those rallies. Like, you really start to be like, wait a second.
Like, all I wanted to do was keep the rallies going. And that's what Trump did the year before,
Right.
you know? He was just like, these rallies are a blast. Everyone's got pictures of me and hats on.
You don't like me.
That's really what it was his favorite part. And I think that he wishes that was what he could continue to do.
He does it as much as he can.
Yeah.
You know, whether he's at the Southern White House. By the way, did you guys catch any of Barbara Bush's funeral?
I didn't catch it, no.
So I was home one of the days. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm doing 4 or 5 shows a day. So I was pretty tired and overeating great Austin food. So I'm like, oh, I'll have time maybe to take a fucking half-hour nap. I go in, I put on Fox or CNN. And so they're at, and all the ex-presidents and the ex-first ladies show up, and the current first ladies there. And that's always cool. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is
That's
cool.
a fun thing.
Get them all in the same.
It just seems like remember SNL's 40th anniversary where you're just like seeing people sit next to each other.
Right. And like you were seeing like Obama talk to Melania and you're like, this is cool.
So then they do a thing where the Bush granddaughters come out and they're reading Bible verses, right? And they're cracking and they're all beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're just like, there's a time for, it was unbelievably great.
Wow.
I'm got fucking tears running down my eyes because I'm like, oh my God, her granddaughters just love her. You know,
Yeah.
it was so, because their hearts are broken.
Yeah.
And they're reading these things, and it was just, it was like, oh man, I would love to have a funeral like that. And then when we were in Texas, they would the flags were at half mast, the Texas flag too, because she
oh yes,
lived
true.
in Texas, and I think they went back to Houston for that funeral, and the Bush family is just beloved there, and it was really sad but great because she lived to whatever she lived to, and she did stuff her own way, but those beautiful girls. Just cracking. Oh,
that's
really
so
got to me.
heartbreaking.
Yeah. I know. So that was, and look at a World War II champion. It looks great. This guy was a war hero when they were kids. They were both kids, and he was shot down. He was a great pilot. And she was a Rosie the Riveter back here in America.
I didn't realize that.
Look, W looks great, and there's Clinton. There's a great picture of Obama making Melania laugh.
Yeah, I saw that picture actually.
And you just wish, couldn't we all just try to be at that chill moment every day? I've really got it in the back of my head now just to try to figure out where everybody else is coming from because I'm so exhausted.
It is really exhausting.
With all the the daily what the fucks. I certainly don't want to live that way. So much fun down there. So much fun doing radio too. Doing terrestrial.
You stayed so busy down there. I was getting updates all the time from people because you were doing radio, then jumping from show to show to show. You did the Unmasked and the Judah event, but it's just, I was shocked. You had not even 5 minutes to talk to me because you were just nonstop going that whole trip.
Well, here's the weird thing. I did the, Dudley and Bob podcast the first night at Cap Cities, which is this great club. And Ron White is there. And, I'm just basically fresh into town. And Ron White is every bit as funny in the green room as he was on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, just hanging out with him. And he was a guy, I think he's 62 years old, but he was like, I first came to Austin when I was 15 years old, man. And it was just wow, and he's doing that. So this woman comes in and she's like, she's doing old Austin stories with her. And she's like, I used to work with Stevie Ray. He played my bar every night. And Ron is like, well, then you're old as shit, right? And she's like, I'm a great grandmother now. And here she is like this old cowgirl hippie, cool chick.
Oh, that's awesome.
Silver hair, and just story after story.
Austin has that coolest combination of that, exactly that, kind of hippie-ish, but still Texan.
Yeah, hippies.
So it's harder than.
Oh yeah, like hippies that have guns. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And the weird thing is, a bunch of New Yorkers came down for this, and all New Yorkers, including us, love Austin. It feels like the sixth borough. You know what I mean? Like we're comfortable wherever we go there.
Last year was my first time going to Austin, and I just fell in love. It was one of those cities where I went there and immediately went, I could live here. Like I absolutely could. Live here. It's so cool.
When I get a chance, we should put some food pictures up on Instagram. I actually took Vito and Chris out to breakfast one day because I went there earlier in the week.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that we actually even missed a breakfast with the Bonfire guys because Don's uncle is Mark McKinnon, this very famous political guy who worked on George Bush's campaign, and I think you'll see him on that show, The Circus. You ever see The Circus?
Yeah.
On Showtime. Well, he's the guy with the hat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he gave him Soder this. Get in a car, go out to this restaurant for these breakfast tacos. It's somewhere on the outside of town. And they said it's just this dusty roadhouse and the food was out of this world.
Whoa.
And I'm like, give me the name of that. I'm going back. Yeah, and I did the Bonfire shows. Chris and I, we'll get into it later, but we made a heel turn on their show. Tuesdays with Stories was unbelievable.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages about that. How fantastic that show was.
That was probably, and Chris DiStefano was on with me too. That was probably one of the best shows of the week. Of just because those guys are so crazy and weird.
Yeah,
and they're just hilarious. There was just so many funny shows, and I couldn't make them all. Because I was busy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like even more so, like last year when we went to Moon Tower, we were saying how it feels like it's like what's great about, let's say, Just for Laughs in Montreal, but it's smaller and it feels like, more attainable. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're upping their game because it seems like there was so much going on this year.
Well, the Weird Al, everybody was, lined up for Real Al and Tiffany. Remember last year with Ali Wong where we just saw these Asian girls in tight dresses coming in?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm back on that street. I forget which street that is. It's
at Congress?
Yeah, it's Congress, right? And I just see hot black chicks in fucking tight. I'm like, what is going on here? I've never seen so many beautiful Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
People come from all over.
Yeah, it's funny how those kind of acts can make like the non-comedy fans go, wait, comedy's a thing?
Yeah. yeah, because it speaks to them. But, Colleen puts on this unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable thing. And the last night I'm there and I'm going to host the New York's finest show at one of the theaters, this great theater. And there's 10 acts. So, I mean, I know all night I'm just going to, and they're all doing 6 or 7 minutes, right? Long story short, we're in the back room and Sam Jay's going, why am my name on this list? What's going on? You're playing a different show.
No.
Mark Norman is like, what time do I go on? Is there a reason my name is? You're doing a different show.
Oh, no.
And there was another person, I couldn't remember who it was. And then in the meantime, our first comic I'm bringing out is on the other side of the town in a club there.
Oh, my God.
Shit.
It was so funny. And Colleen's gone, geez, how can I do this better? I give you a schedule. I have cars lined up for everybody.
She's going to need a handler for every comic next year.
She said, do I have to hire walkers to take you? Because literally you get this sheet and everything that you're doing is on that sheet and how to get there. And it was hysterical because it reminded me of the first day of school where somebody would be going, oh, you didn't call out my name. And you're like, that's because you're not in this house.
Man, look at that. That's so fantastic. That's the New York's finest show?
Yeah, that was at the Stateside Theater on Congress.
Man, fantastic. What a great stage.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It was just so much fun.
Is that you and Joe?
Yeah.
Joe List.
As you can see, I'm wearing the same clothes as the other gig. All these and I did a gig in between these.
Oh my God, I can't believe that.
It was right after the Judas show. And
Wait, I just thought of who it was. It was Kurt Metzger. Kurt Metzger was at the Velveeta room.
Oh God.
2 minutes before I'm just saying, Kurt, stay where you are. I'm having a car pick you up.
Oh, God.
And I go on stage and there's no Kurt Metzger, and then finally, like, the light comes on. I'm like, I guess Kurt got here. You know what I mean? And he was so funny. I haven't seen him in
I
so
know,
long.
it's been ages since we've seen him since he moved to the West Coast.
And he's hanging with Annie Letterman, and they're like, they share an apartment out there.
Oh, really?
I don't know whether it's that. I don't know whether it's
just
two
saying.
pals. I know, but
Roommates.
when you just say, I feel like it's part of the Me Too movement. And I don't ask. I don't ask because I don't know who's with who. I don't know who's coming here, who's got the diamonds.
I don't know who's dead. I don't know who's alive.
The bonfire is throwing out stuff, and this is very funny to me. And we did that at Anton's, but their audience was a little disappointed that we carnied them, I think.
Really? They didn't think that was fair?
Well, and because everybody figured out the gimmick except for the two hosts of the bonfire.
Oh my God.
Who were slack-jawed.
Oh. You gotta be quick with these guys. Gotta be quick.
I know. I kind of
They're
almost
schemers.
felt half bad. And I did it. His "What's Your Fucking Deal" at that Parish.
The parish.
Have you ever been in that place?
I can't remember if I went. I don't think I went
It's
to any
po-
shows at the parish.
It's part of what I call Austin's unfinished architecture. I actually said I haven't seen a ceiling the entire time I'm here. Every club looks like bats are living above the air conditioning units. God, it was fun, man.
Man, what a great festival. That's such a great town. I'm sad that I missed it this year, but I could not be more happy to hear what a great time you had and the shows.
Weirdly, you were doing the same thing of us. You were doing a show that you had never done before, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of fun without me being in here opening up my big fucking trap. Oh, you know what really pissed me off? Well, let me just say this. I would like a fruit plate, Vito. I would like a specialty fruit plate. Why? Because Gail's hosting the show. Did you set up a fruit plate for her?
I wanted to make a nice, like, ladies' environment, like fruit plate, you know? Like
Thank you
girl
for
chat
saying
show.
that. Thank you for saying that, because the biggest thing that I heard is you went straight girl.
Well, I think.
And I heard that from everybody.
The thing is, I think our first show that we did, it was just me and Vito and Jen. Christy joined us, and we did some dish. And I think the world got to finally see why Vito pals around with me and Jen and less so with Chris, because he does have a side that he enjoys the company of ladies. He does enjoy the company of women.
But a lot of men enjoy being with women without turning into one.
I was all in.
Dude, I went through this before, okay, for decades. You're accepted. If you need to come out, everybody here accepts you.
I'm not gay. I'm just effeminate.
I went through that same thing. And then finally a gray-haired man is telling me that he's gay.
To the secret.
And I go, like I've been telling you now for 22 years.
I mean, I think maybe even that exact sentence was used. I'm not gay, but I'm effeminate.
Yes. And what I'm saying is, don't waste your time. If there's anything he looks back on and wished he did, was it earlier?
We got one life to live, Vito. Don't waste it.
Dude, straight guys don't like purses. Just know that.
Purses are cool.
Exactly. And that's acceptable.
They hold everything you need. They just seem really convenient.
Vito gets us. He just understands.
Skirts? Don't get me started on skirts.
You can wear skirts. If you're trans, you're accepted.
I don't think I have the legs for it.
See, that's also the same
Yes,
thing.
exactly. That's something
I'm
a
not
woman
worthy. I'm not worthy. In the meantime, Tim Dillon's out there enjoying life.
Yeah.
Boy, I saw Tim in the What's Your Fucking Deal show. Tim Dillon and Joe List got into, man, it must be nice to have someone shit on your back. It must be warm and pleasant. And
No.
they went way too deep with it. And Joe's point was, we don't get to see women come. This is a way to know that they finished. Because I guess he's
This is so disgusting.
Yeah. And they both went for lower back, by the way.
Instead of upper?
Yeah, they didn't want it on their upper back. They went on their lower back. Now, since, we got into presidential talk, JFK used to have a terrible back, something that happened when he was a kid. And the rumor always was that he liked a woman to get up and kind of ride his back because he found it, it was just kink. What am I saying? He could fight it. He could use the back excuse all he wanted.
I have this bad bag.
Yeah. But he liked the idea of being pegged without a peg. The only problem with travel is traveling. There's just nothing fucking easy. It's getting to the airport, getting to the thing, getting to the hotel, getting through that shit. It's just such a long day. There's no one, unless you fly private, you're going to have to put up with being treated like a terroristic criminal.
Well, that was the thing. That was the main reason that I wasn't able to do it this year, because I was just thinking it's that part specifically that I think I would have struggled most.
When I left to go down there, they went through my bag because I always carry, but Vito doesn't understand that you can't have a satchel and be a man. And they went through everything, right? Pulled out a cigar cutter, right? Because I got to see whether this can get through or not. I go, it's a cigar cutter. He goes, I know what it is. I go, then if you know what it is, it's $2. I don't need it. I don't want to stand here for 15 minutes to get approval on something that they give me free every time I buy a box of cigars. And I can't take over the place with a cigar cutter. You also know that I don't care.
What are you going to be saying? Like, give me your finger. Hand it to me.
The most I could do is cut off a pinky. No, cut a pinky. I don't even think you could cut the bone. But all that stuff is just, it makes an unfun day.
Oh, no.
And I'm in first class and it's still unfun.
Yeah. It's the travel part that it just wears you down.
I came back through Earth Day and couldn't make it through the city. The guy's like, you're going to have to get out here. I go, dude, I got fucking bags. I'm fucking getting out of here. You're going to have to drive around the city.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
It was fucking crazy.
Like, you can't just abandon someone with suitcases.
I jump out of cabs all the time in traffic jams like this ain't the day for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that when I got fucking suitcase with me. Fuck you, dude. We had a deal set up at the airport.
There's an agreement between the two of us.
Also, we stayed at this beautiful hotel called Aloft, which everyone down there was calling a loft. They couldn't get it.
It is a loft.
Yeah, they couldn't get it through. And it's this big, and it's a very kind of a New York style hotel. The rooms were small, but they're all nice. And I'm just like, I don't know if taking an elevator to the second floor, then going to get into an elevator, that you have to use your key to hit the elevator. Then if 6 of us get on an elevator, each of us have to card that to hit our floor. And if you don't stop at your floor.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're by yourself, but if you're in a packed elevator and
you have to make your way to the front to get your,
right.
That's too annoying.
And everybody's bitching about it. And you're just like, I don't want to.
I don't think the system was broken there. You know what I mean? I think
they weren't security. Everything is security now.
Right.
So you get in, you have to go to the second or third floor to get to the lobby. And there's like this round desk that there's no back or anything to. And I'm like, I've worked in hotels when I was a kid. this looks cool. I get the whole world wants to look like we're on a Google campus, no matter where we are. You know,
Right.
we're at Google or Yahoo or fucking Snapchat or whatever. And every, store has to look like that now. But what do you do when a convention shows up and there's 150 people in your lobby? You need a really long desk with a bunch of fucking people.
Yes, absolutely.
I know it's not as pretty, but it's functional.
Yeah, with that many floors, that doesn't even seem like a good idea. Like if you had like a little boutique hotel where you had like a couple floors and a couple rooms, I think you could pull that gimmick off. But not if you've got 30 floors of rooms.
No, and there's a bar like 10 feet away, like a full bar, 10 feet away from the check-in desk. And then another 10 feet away from that, there's a cornhole set where people are playing cornhole.
I don't need it. Seriously.
It's cool though, you know what I mean?
I don't need it.
There's pool tables too behind that.
I am not. Seriously, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the lobby. And I don't pick my fucking hotels by how nice the lobby is.
You know what they need? Axe throwing. I hear that's really in right now.
Cornhole's new axe thrower.
Vito, your big goal is to make sure we get Bob on that channel on Donny Street Radio when he gets here.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to one of the producers right now.
Producers, go higher than that.
Program director.
Higher. I want Mr. Springsteen himself.
Okay.
He loves Bruce so much that he looks like Bruce. People bring it up.
Yeah, that's true. The similar style.
We did their radio show and had a blast. They still have CDs.
Nice.
But those guys, you know how they're obsessed with Chris and how nuts he is?
Sure.
Then I bring Chris and Vito comes too. I didn't expect. I show up at the place and they're both sitting out front, right? None of them could tell the difference between Vito and Chris.
Really hurtful. Really hurt.
Chris, why are you getting hurt? You just need to accept this is true.
I'm 10 years older than
Like
Vito.
Ron and I can well, that shouldn't be a bad thing. You should be happy. And Ron and I can tell you apart because it's like when, like parents have a set of twins.
Right.
Like, we know you guys, but they can't tell.
If anybody should be insulted, it's me. You're 10 years older than me, like you just said.
Dude, if you don't want to be insulted, don't look at Twitter. Because the growing thing is the thing that's out there is you're bigger than Chris.
I know. I saw some of those tweets, and I saw pictures of myself this year in Austin versus last year in Austin.
Oh, there's a difference?
It's a big difference.
That shame him.
And yet you're the one that's always talking about working out and stuff.
I haven't worked out in a while.
He's getting swole in the gut, Rod.
Stop it, Chris.
Oh, God, Chris.
You should be on his side.
I'm
Chris,
taking.
just because you had a stomach virus that cleared you out, and now you're looking very svelte. That was not due to any work
That was
you
a great
did.
stomach virus.
Wish I had it again a couple more times.
Nothing really changed in your energy. So the whole trip was really, really fun, other than the travel. The travel was nightmarish. Well, we talked about this too, that the day I traveled was the day that the woman was sucked out of the window.
Yep. And I wasn't able to really take any time to read anything about it until you were back in New York. Because I saw headlines and I was like, this is too much. I need to wait until you are on the ground again, and then I will maybe read an article about this.
You remember, they always said, hey, as long as you're not taking off or landing, you're completely safe.
Yeah.
Nothing is supposed to happen. You're supposed to wander about the cabin and all that shit. Nobody was wandering about the fucking cabin that day. Because you don't even think of airline travel until you're up in the air. And then you're like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like if your friend is saying to you, I'm coming in from LA, you're like, great, what time? But you don't think about, hey, are they going to be okay?
Right.
But people, when they're in the air, go like this. Is there a reason this stays up in the air? It seems really big. And now, when you're going there, you can watch movies and TV. I came back on this little fucking shitty thing. And you were like, you realize how much ADD that you actually have.
Oh yeah, if you don't have something to distract you,
Yeah.
no, it's the worst.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid the way we just can't sit quietly.
Mm-mm. Nope.
No one can just sit quietly.
Then you try to open your book and you're like, yeah, but this isn't moving at all.
I can't zoom in on this.
I had the Rolling Stone fucking Bowie book, the magazine, right? And I couldn't even make it through it.
I know,
This
we're
is
all
like-
getting worse.
I was like, well, why aren't I listening to this music now? Let me try to get my thing set up so I can listen to each album when I'm reading about it. So that specialty show was so much fun. I think that's the future. You know what I mean? I think we got to think of things that are weird like that to do. Because I forget who said it to me, maybe Joe List. But he's like, well, these festivals work better when you have something to do other than just straight stand up.
Yeah, but a lot of them are kind of event based or like some sort of specialty game or whatever.
I had to, I was doing stand up at that fucking Congress room, 800 Congress, I think it is, before I went over to host the other one. I got to think of the guy's name, LA guy that I followed, who had a fucking set for the ages.
Kurt Braunholer.
God, is that a fucking funny guy?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like fucking laughing my ass off, going, man, I wish there was somebody in between me and him.
How Pedro with the Man, Up in Smoke at 40. It's available now in stores, online, on Blu-ray and DVD. Tommy Chong is in studio.
Sure
Tommy,
is.
good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we were just talking about the first time that we met, whether Gail had been born yet, and I think you were a little like a toddler at that time. But Tommy came and did my show, and that's when you got back into stand-up, really.
It was my first gig.
Yeah.
Or second gig, I think.
Yeah. And you were still like putting the act together as a single.
I was, in between gigs, I was in the dressing room trying to write bits. I remember I did a Pee Wee Herman bit there.
Yeah.
Because Pee Wee had just gotten busted.
Yeah, Pee Wee had just been busted, and it was so funny. You're like, who knew? Pee Wee. Gay. And, there's no way
the bit was I'm in a porno movie and all of a sudden I feel something back in my head and I turn around and go, is that you, Pee Wee?
But now these kids, they wouldn't even know what a porno theater is.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because, it's everything that you have on your phone, people used to have to physically drive to.
Yeah. Now you got it, everywhere, yeah.
But I'm looking, back at this 40 years since that movie. It's hard to believe, right?
Yeah,
hard
40
to believe.
years, man.
And I got to tell you, I saw the movie in the theater, and everybody was so into this movie. And I remember there was someone just ran down the aisle of the theater. It was so funny. You know what I mean? Like, just people were getting up and screaming and stuff.
We met people that own just lately. People that work for the Man Theaters.
Yeah,
they were going bankrupt until Up in Smoke came out.
Wow!
And it saved the theater. Yeah, because they could play it every week, every day.
Well, how many theaters did that movie even open in?
700. I think
700, which was gigantic then.
Yeah.
There's Cheech. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, it's nice to be seen. Thank you very much. No, really, sit down.
Now, did you guys have any expectations that movie would become what it was?
No.
Yeah.
No, we were just glad we got it finished.
Right.
And when they showed us the rough cut, we were a little worried because the ending was all screwed up.
Right.
And so we had to redo the ending. And then
another ending.
And after we redid the ending, when we screened it and we saw the effect, it was incredible.
Well, I wish that the theater that I saw it in, that somebody would have just filmed that audience.
Yeah, it was
because
amazing.
it was, it was like a rock show.
Yeah.
Everybody was going crazy. And that scene where you guys are stuck in the median and you're just sitting there was just so. I mean, everyone is just losing it at that.
That first time I saw it with an audience, it was
Yeah.
in Dallas, Texas,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe the audience reaction. It was like
Right.
it was like a rock show. They were going nuts.
And yet, I don't think that people thought, there would be a market for that in Dallas, Texas, and Minneapolis. Like people probably thought, New York and L.A. was where the stoners were, but they were secretly everywhere.
Yeah, I'm
Everywhere.
sure. Like for the most part, people just thought of weed as probably counterculture
Right.
still, as opposed to now, which is just culture.
We used to say that we were middle of the road dopers,
Right.
But that was the norm. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Well, the movie that had dope smoking in it, but at the end was Fonda and
Easy Rider.
Easy
Yeah.
Rider,
Right.
Easy Rider, and then they did that acid scene in the grave at the very end, of the
Right,
movie.
yeah.
and then the guy gets killed. It was like there was a reason. There's like a moral.
Yeah,
thing
there's-
for it.
yeah.
like there was a receipt.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so what we
exactly.
did, we took the doper scene and made a whole movie out of it.
Right.
And we were the good guys.
Yeah.
And no one got killed.
What was always funny to me about Cheech and Chong is that you guys always met in the beginning of the movie. It wasn't like the Three Stooges where these guys are together. You're always just like somehow thrown together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was the pride of it. It's like the plot of Up in Smoke, and there is
Yeah.
one, and it's two guys meet.
Yeah.
They want to form a band, but first they have to find a joint.
Yeah.
And therein lies your plot.
Yeah.
It's finding a joint.
That's it.
And in Europe, the movie was called Looking for a Joint.
Really? I had never
Yeah.
known that.
Looking for a joint, which we actually eventually found, didn't we?
But Up in Smoke has a ton of laughs.
Oh, yes.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
The first ending that Lou and them did, they didn't end with a laugh.
Yeah.
They ended with it was all a dream,
Right.
and that was horrible.
No.
And so it wasn't a dream. This is
Yeah.
for real. This is really going on.
Right.
And these guys are going to be together for a lot of movies. And
Yeah.
Next movie actually had more laughs than Up in Smoke.
Sure.
And then
Well, you guys eventually went, okay, this is how to make movies.
Yeah.
Because everything about your career was kind of backing into it. Oh, we're going to make an album when you didn't really have any idea,
No idea.
how to make an album. Then you didn't have any idea how to make a movie. How those things become successful is the longest shot ever.
And then we
it's
started using video assist almost immediately, especially with next movie and then on, because I directed, and so in order to see what I was doing, I had to look at the video.
Right.
And now they just shoot movies with video.
Right.
They don't even use film camera anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And also, did you guys do any cuts after screening, or did you just feel like
Oh no, we
This-
did a lot of
yeah.
cuts after screening.
After the first screening.
after the first screening? Yeah.
And then after that, we did 2 weeks. We did a new ending, and then the editors. See what happens when you do a movie. The first cut is like the editor's revenge.
Right. Yeah.
What they do, they show you stuff that it's out of sync. It's the worst, and because you're in a movie, everything you see, you only relate to it as a movie.
Right.
You know, it's not a rough cut unless you're an editor.
Yeah.
And then they fix it, and then they show it again, and then you're, whew, thank God.
But comedically, you know this. You could do a 2-second pause and it's hilarious, but a 1 second and a 3 second are not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a different medium.
Yeah.
It's like playing electric guitar and playing acoustic guitar. There's
Right.
a lot of stuff you can do with electric guitar that you can't do acoustically. You know?
Yeah.
It's the same, song,
Right.
but it's a different way to do it.
And, really, in a lot of ways, it's Hope and Crosby had the same kind of thing, but it's updated to make it fresh, But Hope and Crosby were two guys that just went on the road. They weren't looking for a joint, but they were looking for something.
It might have been a better movie if they were looking for a joint.
Well, one of the guys we talked to on this tour, he mentioned the fact that there was always girls showing their titties in our movies, and that was another thing that we made sure, like Evelyn and
It was in our contract.
and all the girls. I mean, that was one of the things we had to have that
Right.
female
Which
energy
was
there.
relatively new. You couldn't do that in the 60s, you know? In the 60s, you could not say, here's some naked people, you know?
In our movie. Smoking dope. You couldn't do that.
Yeah. So it was all really so new, and it did feel subversive, particularly if you lived in the suburbs. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, well, me and my friends are like this, but how do we find other people that are like this?
That's it. You know, the thing is, the stoner thing went all over, not only the United States, but all over the world.
Right.
And when we made the film, you really realized how international that culture was.
Yeah.
Because it played in every country. And we had that, and we were recognized for the first time.
Right.
Really. You know, because relatively few people saw us live on stage.
Yes.
They heard our voices, but they didn't know who we were. And when they saw who we were, it's like, oh.
And the records were banned in a lot of places. In Vietnam, you know, they would play Cheech and Chong, you know, bootleg style.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like an underground hit. You know, it wasn't then. So you know, the straight people, like the UFO tours, you know, we were never asked, asked to do that. You know?
It was all the dope exporting countries that banned our.
That's hilarious.
Colombia, Venezuela, you know, all those. No. We don't have that there.
Did you ever have problems with the feds for real? Was there ever a thing where the feds were...
Only Tommy.
Oh, yeah, eventually.
Eventually, but no, not back then.
No. We cops were our friends. They were our big fans. It was amazing. You know, they used to, you know, they were cool.
The Stadenko character was based on a real cop that used to torture us up in Vancouver.
Right.
And Abe Stadenko was his name. And so we called Stadenko, we called Stacy Keach, Abe Stadenko.
Yeah.
And he got so popular because of the movie, they had to ship him to Turkey for the rest of his career.
Because he was an undercover guy.
He was a 17-year in Turkey. And then he came back. He first of all, he came back to Vancouver, and I got a call from the narc department in Vancouver. Yeah. And they said, hey, this is a narcotics officer. Don't worry. You know, it's a friendly call. Listen, Abe's retiring. Can you sign him a poster and send it up to us?
That's so great.
And they presented Abe a Cheech and Chong poster with his name on it on his retirement.
That's so funny. Yeah. All right, Chris, let's do some plugs for this.
Cheech and Chong are in studio. How Pedro Met the Man, Up in Smoke at 40 is available now in stores and online, as well as the soundtrack is available to download, stream, and on vinyl. And Cheech and Chong are currently on tour. They're performing at the Sugar House Casino in Philly, May 5th. CheechandChong.com for tickets and all their tour dates. And Cheech's Private Stash products are available to buy in stores in California, Nevada, and Colorado. Cheech's Private
Stash. Tommy's label, too, is Chong's Choice.
Yes.
And it's available where refined weeds are sold.
It's not written down there, Chong's Choice?
I used to have Cheech's Private Stash, but now Chong's Choice is also
now it's Chong's Choice. See, I told you I'd get you on radio.
It's all working out.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know, I thought it's been occurring to me because this is the 40th anniversary. How many other movies are celebrating their 40th anniversary now? Right. I mean, you know, bandied by as an iconic classic. Not many.
Not many, because comedy doesn't normally hold up.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, Hope and Crosby, those things weren't celebrated years later. They were of their time. Yeah. And it's funny how many times that you'll try to tell like your kids, oh, you got to watch this movie, and they don't. They don't think it at all.
I try to turn my kid on to Lenny Bruce.
Yes, that's a hard one, right?
Oh, my son said, turn it off. He didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Well, you're like, and they're like, where are the jokes in this? You're like, at the time, it was very edgy.
The thing
we
is,
loved it.
The way we shot the movie is it was filmed almost all entirely in masters and played out in real time. It wasn't digitized and edited, so you know it's like force feeding a goose. You know, all right, here's where you laugh. You know,
right,
and you get to pick where you thought it was funny.
Yeah, and that is true. I think the fact that you guys did so much stage and then recording album before you did the movie, you know?
Well, most of the comedy teams, that's why we went and made a movie, because every comedy team we knew from the past made movies. And they did the same way. They came up, whether it was in vaudeville or on radio or whatever it was. They had a lot of, but teams did that. And then it got into the area where you had one stand-up set and then you got your own show. Right. But we had a lot of experience before we got there.
Even with Martin and Lewis, if you catch any of their nightclub stuff, it was way better than the movies.
Oh,
way better.
Yeah. And you're just like, okay, this is a madhouse. And then you're like, wow, Dean Martin has got maybe the best timing of all time.
He was great.
And why do you think that is versus the movie?
Because you don't have the control that these guys ended up getting, you know? Yeah. They would have people write their movies for them, direct their movies.
And that's the thing, directing.
Yeah.
Because they would say, okay, cut, before you had a chance to make it funny.
Right.
Or they would rehearse it until it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, that's really true, right?
See, what we did, we would shoot the rehearsal.
Right.
In fact, that was part of our thing. We shoot the rehearsal because you never know.
Yeah.
That we didn't know how to make a movie, which we didn't when we made Up and Smoke. We didn't never made a movie before. Was to our benefit at the end, because what they did is we put up the camera and then we were funny in front of it. That was our
thing.
And we were with people that knew how to make a movie, which is Robert Altman's crew.
Right.
And so they were used to the improvisational.
This is the first time I've ever heard that. I think that's amazing.
He had his whole crew. Yeah. He was supposed to direct Up and Smoke.
That's hilarious.
But he got Ice Palaces with that, with Paul Newman.
Well, the first guy that was hired was Floyd Mutrix that did American Graffiti.
No, American something or other.
American Graffiti was George Lucas.
Yeah, no, it was something or other. He made a movie. It was successful.
It was a hot rod movie.
Yeah.
And Floyd Mutrix, and so we tried to write with him, but he was a little distracted, and he was that movie type. See, there's a movie attitude that we never had, which was lunch, and they would milk every budget until they couldn't afford it anymore, and then they would shoot a movie. Well, what we did, we just wanted to get in there and get out of there, so we'd perform. And so the camera, we went through 3 DPs because they couldn't keep up with us.
Wow.
And finally, we did it so fast, less than a month. And that's what it was. It's almost like baking a cake. If you leave it in too long, you burn it. If you don't take it out too soon, it's not done. And ours was like just in there and out there, and to this day, it's still here.
Yeah, just touching it, like making tortillas. Just touch the pan, get it out of there.
They're beautiful.
But I always think it's great too. Is I think because you guys toured, you knew your audience, you knew an audience that Hollywood didn't even know was there.
We knew we could make a film and run it backwards with Japanese subtitles, and it was going to be a hit because I knew that the audience was there.
Yeah.
And
everything that you guys did. I mean, even the fact that you just went into a studio to write, still people don't do that.
Yeah,
it's still not done. And
we were kind of like jazz musicians.
Yeah.
And then, we know, do a Misty in C and at this tempo. We sit there playing, and we knew each other very well. Know when to come in, when to not come in, when to shut up, when to say something.
Jazz musicians have to appreciate each other. They have to appreciate the other talent and be in the moment. Yeah.
And they have to know their acts real well.
Yeah.
You know how to make $1 million playing jazz?
How's that?
You start with $3 million.
But the fact that you guys played music together at first, I think, is really, really
the
big.
essence of it.
Yeah. And you guys were always fans of studio musicians.
Oh, yeah.
You guys always knew who could play.
Well, that was where Lou Adler came in,
right?
Because he had all the connections.
Yeah.
And he was the best producer for Cheech and Chong.
Like in Basketball Jones, George Harrison was the lead guitar on that.
It's insane. Yeah.
That was amazing because he was in the next studio recording with Lou.
And because of our reputation, I ended up on Dr. Dre's albums.
Right.
Because he knew that if he could get a Cheech or Chong on his album, that would boost sales rate immediately.
Yeah.
And so I've been on a lot of their rap albums.
We just got sampled by Eminem in his new record.
Right.
Yeah,
I heard that.
And I love that shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just love that, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's got to seem crazy to you to run into fans that weren't even born
Yeah.
when you were doing this.
Oh yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
I was in a car with Mario Lopez one time earlier, and his mother and his sister, and we were coming back from some place to go to some club, and his mother was going, "Oh, I used to go see you guys down in Funky Quarters in San Diego. That's where they're from, San Diego." And mother's just going, and Mario goes, "When was that, Mom?" He says, "Oh, you weren't born yet, mijo." Thanks, Mom.
Well, this is so great to have this celebration. So happy for you guys, man, and you do deserve it.
Thank you.
And the work that is there. It is there. How great are those guys?
So
man?
awesome. It's like surreal. It's like seeing two like cartoon characters from your childhood.
I
or
know,
something
right?
come to life.
And Tommy never forgets that he did that thing at my club, and we go over it all the time
That's so
because
sweet.
he literally went out as a single, and had to figure out because all of his stuff was written differently, But everybody who showed up was crazy about him, and I used to have a phone on the stage that I could call people during the show, and I think they got one of those in Jersey, right?
Oh yeah, at the Stress Factory, yes.
So they have the same thing there. So Tommy would kill a little time, and he would call. His daughter was really big at the time, Ray Dong Chong, beautiful, great actress, right? And he would call up, so the audience would hear him talking to her. And one night he goes like, "Can I talk to Ray?" And they're like, "Well, Ray's out." He's like, "Well, this is Ray's father," and then you just hear, "Well, this is Ray's mother." You know immediately that shit didn't end well. And then one night he just calls Cheech out of nowhere, and Cheech answers, and the place, and they had left on bad stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And so he just did it not to like be friends again, but just to be like, I gotta kill 10 minutes. I don't have 45 minutes of material. And the place just explodes. My club is just going crazy.
That's awesome.
And then those guys were just fucking hilarious together. And you're just like, I know all the other shit gets in the way. You know what I mean? But when you get that kind of magic, it's a gift, man. That's a gift. And they're right. That shit holds up. I mean, it
really does, yeah.
Shot cheaply and everything, but it's fucking hilarious. Those
you
two
rewatch
characters.
it now, it's still so funny and so silly. And
well, I remember when I was younger, it would almost be annoying when you would get high at someone's house and they would put it on because people would be saying lines to you.
Right. Like that whole cult classic thing where it's like you're happy that it exists, but you're just like, oh, it's the fans that will drive you nuts.
And imagine if it was just audio. You know what I mean? Like listening to comedy albums. And but everybody knew a Tommy Chong. You know what I mean? Everybody had a Chong at their school. Isn't that weird that whatever that thing was, that was like a doper's personality? Wait, man. It just existed everywhere. And sometimes they were a little dangerous. It was like a Tommy Chong who would also be like, we should hold up a store, He's like, oh, easy, dude. But there's something about those guys. It's just so joyful and sweet,
Really, really sweet.
All right, why don't we take a break here? It's I know it's probably a little annoying to have us back, and Vito can't be himself.
I know, it's true.
But I don't. Has there been a big comedy team since Cheech and Chong?
I don't know if there has been one at that level.
Dude, I was watching something on Amazon Prime, and they were doing a thing of like the worst movies of all time. And one of the movies comes up, and it's got Boris Karloff, one of those scary guys in it. There was all the worst movies are horror movies, because they're just giant radioactive spiders and shit like that.
And super low budget at that. Yeah. So it's like.
And one of them, and I'm half paying attention, and I'm like, fuck, they got Jerry Lewis in this piece of shit. and there was a Martin and Lewis ripoff. And this guy's Jerry Lewis was so good that when the movie came out, Jerry Lewis fucking sued him.
Really?
Yeah, because he was just
It was just like an impression.
doing
yeah.
Jerry Lewis. And I had never seen him before.
Weird.
Maybe we'll try to find that when we get back. I got to talk to you a little bit about this because Mother's Day is
That's true.
coming up. And you never, seriously, you're going to get your mom candy or flowers? What is she, a stranger to you? And if your mom is like most, she has spent a lot of sleepless nights up with you as a baby or working late on school projects and maybe waiting by the front door for a few minutes after curfew.
This Mother's Day, it's time to give it all back. A great night's sleep with a set of Boll & Branch.
Do, 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 do. Always in a good mood when I see Cheech and Chong.
They're so awesome. That was really, really fun.
Well, I'll be out at the Stress Factory this weekend. I'm finally coming home to New Jersey. I hope it hasn't changed much. I haven't been back there since high school.
Yeah, this must be really weird for you.
Well, what was weird, and I didn't even realize that, is that when I heard the song, because I love Jersey, and then I heard this song Born to Run, and I said, yeah, I got to go. I can't stay, you know?
Ron Bennington's Coming Home to New Jersey tour is this weekend at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Friday, April 27th, Saturday, April 28th. 2 shows each night, 7:45 and 9:30 p.m. Go to thestressfactory.com for tickets.
Yeah, because I wasn't even in I was just in Brunswick. And now that it's New Brunswick, I hope it's,
It might be
fresh
better.
coat of paint. I hope it all looks like Google wherever I go. I just want to feel like I'm on the Google campus at all times.
Play some foosball.
Oh, God. And what's the game that you kept playing, Chris?
Cornhole.
By the way, the Chris Stanley thing that a lot of people noticed, he wore the same shirt every day.
No, you didn't, Chris. Did you really?
All right, look. I felt like it became like, this is my lucky shirt. I'm going to keep this shirt on.
And people showed pictures of him with it on last year.
What?
That I didn't remember happening. But there's photo evidence. Well, I love that shirt. It looks good on me.
So you have just one Austin t-shirt that you wear?
Oh, it was a long sleeve shirt with the rolls, with the arms rolled up.
Seems like, for a town that you're known for sweat, might be time to have a nice loose tee for yourself. Air yourself out a little bit.
Didn't think about that.
Now, was Chris less stressed this time, looking less sweaty?
I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not even thinking about this till right now. The day that we did those gigs, because I was running around, I saw Chris for a total of 5 seconds. He was running a board and the audio drops in the back of the room and I couldn't see him. I saw Vito was up front and he was in contact with Vito. So Chris Stanley was like, he was the man in the sky producer.
Right.
I did not. And we only had that one meal together, right?
We only shared one meal.
And that meal was a working meal.
Yeah.
Where he had his laptop with the songs on it. And I would play the songs now, but we're probably going to play this Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
All right. So what we'll do.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, we'll play it on Friday. But then, after that, we'll play some of those songs from time to time because they're really funny. And I want to hear the Comedy Jam guys' song again because I only heard it the one time.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard it either. When they went to do sound check, they just made sure the guitar was working. But we all heard it for the first time when they were on stage during.
So Avery was the only guy there for the sound check, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was just Avery. Jeremiah was playing ping pong.
He's a good sax player too.
Yeah, he's great.
People don't get it.
Legitimately a sax man.
Yeah,
He's
he
like
is
a real sax man.
But it's funny how many comics can play music. And I was just talking with Cheech and Chong. Like their idea was like to start a band, and they did in Vancouver. And Cheech was AWOL, not even AWOL. He was a draft dodger.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
Tommy lived up in Canada. And when Cheech went up there, he never even had any idea that he would come back or not. And those guys started a band, kind of a half-assed band at this place that Tommy's folks owned. And then they just started like doing patter in between songs and then sketches and shit.
Wait a second. This is working better.
Yeah. And then they went down to LA, played a couple of gigs. Lou Adler picked them up and said, "Can you guys do this for a record?" Lou Adler was the guy who found the Mamas and Papas and all this. He was like, did you ever see that movie called The Limey with Peter Fonda?
Yeah.
That's kind of based on Lou Adler.
Oh,
He
really?
was the guy who said, when you say the 60s, you're saying 65 and half of 66, which I love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like after that, to him, it was ruined. So he was the guy who kind of helped found that LA sound. And then he also opened up the Roxy and he produced some crazy movie. I can't remember what it was, but he did one of the cult movies. Oh, Rocky Horror. Right?
Oh,
So he did
really?
Rocky Horror. And then he produced the album for Cheech and Chong, the first album, and then got it out to radio stations immediately because he had connections
It's kind
in
of
radio.
weird just to be the person who understands like when something could be like have a cult following or like a
Yes.
counterculture thing. Like because like the things that you mentioned are not even the same. It's not like, oh, he has one brand and that's the kind of stuff he was interested in.
No, man.
But all of them are kind of on the outskirt of what the norm was. That's
right. And
awesome.
a lot of people complain about the suits or whatever, and you're always looking for a guy who's like kind of cool to be able to pull that off. But you don't get successful without that guy. You know what I mean? And
No,
that guy
that's
might
true.
even end up being a dick. Like a lot of people, of course, and have every right to be furious with Harvey Weinstein. But he also made a lot of great movies and found a lot of people and gave
Right.
them opportunities. And yes, some of them he raped. I didn't say that he didn't. But he didn't just rape. That's what I'm saying. He also made some great movies. So, do you like a good stoner movie, or can it drive you crazy?
You know what? I actually do. I do like a good stoner movie. And I have a personal favorite, which, by the way, when I watched it, I loved it so much that you said you need to watch Up and Smoke because I hadn't seen it yet.
Right.
And that was Friday. So I watched Friday as a kid, and my brother and I got obsessed with it. We would play it all the time, and then it was like, just like you said, like obnoxiously, we could like quote along with it. And we were too young to be even smoking weed, but we just thought it was like the funniest movie.
First of all, there is something so laid back and great about that movie, but I never would have called it a stoner movie. But yeah, because of Smokey,
Yes.
it's a stoner movie.
And it's kind of like he's getting them high, and then like that, like that's a catalyst for a lot of
Yes.
what happens in the movies. And some of the best moments are like him on the porch, and Smokey's just like dancing to a Michael Jackson
Yeah.
moves, and he's just like, like he was just like being cool with Smokey. Those like
How
the
the fuck
funniest-
you get fired on a Saturday? I mean, that shit,
What the hell you need boxes for?
we called Chris Smokey for like 5 years.
Smokey's back there taking a shit.
And it was he got dosed with angel dust,
Yeah.
and he said he was in a chicken coop, sweating like a slave.
Always like brushing his shoulder up, thinking something was there.
844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. All right, here is, and it's not necessary. Well, it's not a stoner movie, but the stoner scene in it, and that's the Oliver Stone first Vietnam movie. And
Oh, right.
what's the name of that movie?
Platoon.
All right, so Charlie Sheen finds the stoner, and he's never been high before. And Willem Dafoe gives him a shotgun out of a fucking rifle. So put this in your mouth and just fucking blow smoke. And that makes weed look like the greatest thing of all time. And the other thing about it is like there was that cool Motown soundtrack. So here all the other guys are like beer drinking and they're listening to Merle Haggard. But the stoners are just fucking dudes that are dancing with each other to fucking Smokey Robinson. And it's a great scene. It's a great stoner scene
Yeah.
in the middle of the movie. I'll give you another one. Again, this is not a stoner movie, but but certainly a great stoner scene was Animal House when they're all in the bathtub.
Oh, right.
Smoking a joint. And it's really getting into pot talk, you know what I mean? Where he's like, wait, so you're saying that this universe could be an atom and a giant's fingernail? And then the other two are just singing, hey, hey, Paula. It's a great fucking scene. All right, we'll go around the room if you want to join in. It's 844-ROCK-GOD, 844-ROCK-GOD. I'm going to go to Vito, and I want you guys just to think of one that you think Vito will pick for himself.
I think it's got to be a recent one. I don't think we're going like with a classic.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But we could go stoner movie or just stoner scene from a movie that isn't necessarily one. Because, you know, they brought up that Peter Fonda movie, right? And Jack Nicholson is, for, you know, first time ever getting high with those guys.
Right.
And it's fucking hilarious. You just suck on the end of this. I mean, everyone knows how to smoke a cigarette, Jack. Oh, I got a helmet. What do you got, Vito?
When I saw Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as a kid, I had no idea it was even a stoner movie. And then when I watched it like 5 years later, it all clicked for me. But I loved that movie growing up.
I guess it's kind of interesting because I didn't really think of it, but even like Mallrats is a stoner movie.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really like his films didn't come to mind, but those are stoner movies.
It's because of Jay and Silent Bob.
All you need is one really good stoner throughout the movie to make it.
They smoke a lightsaber in one scene.
I forgot.
You know, let's go back to Austin with Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
And so what? Me and my friends are blazing up. What I love about that is like that's the first time that you go like, yeah, a guy can smoke weed and still be a greaser dick.
I know. That was the funniest moment of it is like the dude's just smoking. But I still say that to this day. I'll be walking around in my neighborhood and I'll just be like, smells like someone's toking some reefer. What'd you say, man? You say I'm smoking some reefer? Yeah, I just said somebody's toking some reefer, man.
Make another observation, Copernicus or whatever it was. So what? Me and my friends are blazing up. You got a problem with that? Paul in New Jersey.
Hey, buddy, is that Dazed and Confused? That's my favorite thing you guys do. But I don't know if you guys would consider it a stoner movie. I definitely would, but PCU with Jeremy Piven was always my favorite.
Yes.
There's a great stoner scene. I wouldn't say it's a stoner movie, but it's definitely a great stoner scene with
yeah, you could be right on that. Yeah,
Jon Favreau.
Very underrated movie, I think.
I forgot that Jon Favreau was that guy.
Dude, there was a rumor when I was in college that PCU was based on SUNY Purchase, and that like one of the writers or the writer went to Purchase, and that was actually PCU. But I think it was debunked later that it's not based on Purchase.
I heard the same rumor we all talked about.
We were like, yeah, dude, we kind of do go to PCU.
Fake Busey as a stoner is great.
Well, weren't you guys, wasn't that school like one of the first, that in Berkeley, to be like, oh, diversity
big time
is a really big thing?
It was really into that. It was really into, just kind of that youth protest movement, drugs, and, it was a very liberal. Kind of, very liberal college.
But even like in the old, 60s, everybody wasn't really paying a lot of attention to, is everybody taken care of here? You know what I mean? And that was the beginning of that. Like, hey, let's be a little easy of what some of the things we're saying. Jason in Kansas City.
Hey guys, how about True Romance with Brad Pitt?
I always forget that and he was a fucking great stoner. And get some cleaning products. Don't be condescending with me, motherfucker.
It's just straight up Carl.
Somebody told me, though, that was closer to Brad Pitt in the 90s than anything else Brad Pitt ever did.
I kind of believe that. But that character was so perfect. And just like, what, 2 scenes?
Yeah, there was 2 scenes.
It's so good.
Oh, is that all? 2 scenes in
that movie? 2 short
scenes.
One
when Clarence first gets there, and then when the gangsters show up.
Yeah.
And he tries to give him directions to the hotel.
Yeah, that was great. Andy in PA. Andy, what's up?
Hey, how about the first 10 minutes of Super Troopers? Has to be the funniest stoner part of that movie.
By the way, they just had a nice opening for their independent film, the new one.
Yeah.
And our friends at the stand are the executive producers of that movie.
Oh yeah, that movie I thought of right away. I thought maybe that would be Chris's pick for his number one, because that opening scene is very much a nod to Up in Smoke, with like they're really high in the car and the paranoia, being pulled over and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of an homage to it, and it's Fallout funny. Like that scene alone is just fantastic.
The funniest scene to me in Up in Smoke is where he was like high and he got weird. So Chong just gives Cheech some downs, and he takes these downs and then he goes like this. Oh wait, man, not those. What do you mean? I just already swallowed it. He's like, oh man. And that is so.
That's the most acid I've ever seen someone take.
And yeah, nobody had done acid jokes like that. Like, oh, you fucking took too much acid. Hey, Tammy in Wisconsin. Tammy.
Yes.
What do you got for
I
us?
was calling Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
All right, listen to this. That's my head. There was a buddy of mine that I grew up with named Church. And when I saw that, I'm like, I think we got a fucking lawsuit on our hands. That's how much he had acted like Spicoli before Spicoli.
And yeah, I mean, that's another one. Just like you said, how everyone kind of had a Chong in their school.
Yeah.
Like Spicoli is a dude they kind of just keep remaking. Like everyone kind of knows somebody, no matter what era you grew up in, and he's still kind of the same dude as a Spicoli.
Yes, and why are you the stoner surfer dude so fucking far from the ocean? You know, Mike, you could meet a fucking guy in Kansas talking about gnarly waves and just enjoying himself. You know?
Get up in that curl. So tasty.
And what was that like that they said after he took the money and made a Van Halen concert? You're like, just something that fucking stupid. That dumb. Pete, Illinois.
Hey, Bennington. You know, it's not really a stoner movie, but I think that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the type of movie that just makes you want to do hardcore drugs after watching it.
Or never again after fucking watching it. Because the drugs kicked in somewhere near Barstow. That fucking movie, well, first of all, the book. I remember chucking the book against the wall. I was laughing so hard. But that fucking thing that's real drug stuff where you push it past the comfort level.
We can't stop here. This is bad country.
This is bad country. Don't worry, get in here. We're not like the others. Just scaring the shit out of that kid. James, what's up? James, we got you, buddy? Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the Royal Tenenbaums, and Eli catches the scene where he's getting that interview and he's stoned. Is one of the funniest parts of that movie.
You know, I had forgotten that was a great fucking stoner scene, and he was like doing mescaline, remember?
Yeah, that's what it was. And that's when they start to ask him about it, and he's like, Wildcat. He just walks off. What's wrong with him?
What is wrong with him? Nate in Florida. What's up, Nate?
Hey, Benningtons. Hey, I was 19 years old, and I won free tickets to see Tommy Chong at the Comedy Scene. Got him to sign a pack of papers. It was a highlight of my life.
Do you remember how, like, a struggle for him to get that up and going, and the audience was just so on his side? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all loved him. Yeah. And then he called Cheech at the end of the show.
Yes, that was amazing. Those guys hadn't talked in years, and everybody went crazy. You probably caught, that was probably a Saturday night, and that's where it was getting his sea legs. I was like picking up on it.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite scene in a stoner scene in a movie was the Bennington's 3rd anniversary show when Puka Shell Man showed up.
Oh, yeah.
I had to pull my car over. I almost died.
That's basically based on Flipper. So.
yeah.
Hey, Nate, I'm glad you brought that up because everybody was telling me how much they love the anniversary show, and that was Vito's producing on that.
Yes,
great job, Vito.
Probably the best thing he's ever done by far.
Great job, Vito.
I'm telling you, what's weird is everybody this week was doing the best thing they ever did, and everybody was doing it separately.
That's true. Yeah.
You finally got rid of me. Tim in Maine. Tim.
Yeah, one of my favorites has always been Outside Providence.
I love that movie. And that was made by one of the brothers.
Farrelly.
Yeah, the Farrelly brothers, and I'm not even sure which one. But what I love about that movie is Alec Baldwin is the dick dad in that. And he's just like telling his kids, you better put your thumb out if you want to go because I'm not dropping you. Where parents would tell you, you better hitchhike. That was an actual thing. Parents are like, no, I'm not taking you. You're going to have to find your own way to the concert.
That's Peter Farrelly. And also the character of Drugs Mahoney.
Yeah.
He just passes out mid-fucking letter. It's like, sorry, I passed out.
Steve, in Canada, we're talking about stoner scenes and stoner movies.
Hey, Bennington, how are you today?
Good.
Good. Hey, how about any of the Hangover movies?
Yeah, the Hangover movies, they're almost being like taken for granted. But when that first movie came out,
that was super.
Everybody thought the fact that they fucking woke up, that there was a mass blackout.
Right.
And no one ever done that before.
No.
And that shit was all hilarious. There was a fucking tiger in the bathroom. It's the Bennington Show, 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God, talking stoner scenes in movies or just flat out stoner movies. Tim in Florida.
Hey, Bennington. Man, I forgot how awesome Up in Smoke was, and I saw it when
It
I
was
like
shocking.
15 years old.
It was
I hadn't
fucking
even
shocking
gotten
if you were
stoned
a kid.
I hadn't even been stoned yet, but man, my friends through high school, there were things like when he was reaching in the pocket looking for the joint, and he goes, "Oh no, that's my dick." He's like, "Well, man, I hope your dick's bigger than that." I must have said that 1,000 times in high school. And make way for Alex. I didn't know your name was Alex. Make way for the king. Ah, damn it! Thank you, guys.
All right, peace. Yeah, those guys literally created a new style of comedy. And here's Danny. Danny, what's up?
Is that me?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, History of the World Part 1, 2 scenes. The first one, they had Mighty Joint, and then the Roman soldiers get stoned, and they go, "Do you care if it falls?" "What? The Roman Empire." Fuck it.
I forgot that. Rick's got another one from Mel Brooks.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Blazing Saddles. Not only are they cowboys, and they're randomly smoking a joint, but when Gene Wilder's voice goes up after he takes a hit and goes, "Seymour!"
Gene Wilder, how fucking great is that dude? I came so close to doing an Unmasked with him. Like we literally had it booked.
That's
And
heartbreaking.
He had a book tour going out, and he just had fatigue because he was an older guy. He's just like, I can't do the tour anymore. I'm just too tired. Just want to go to my house and sit.
He's been alive so long.
Yeah. Let's keep jumping into this. It's stoner scenes out of movies, and John had one that I wouldn't have picked up on. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I didn't really think of him either this way until you brought up the premise, but Carl from Caddyshack is a good stoner character.
He really is this fuck-up stoner character, and it's almost forgotten like he's special needs or something.
Yeah, that's
But-
kind of how I thought of him, but you're right.
But really, yeah, he's growing weed, and he's in his own world. I like the stoner that's a loner. You know what I mean? People run into him in the movie, but it's never really his movie. Justin in Mass.
How's it going? I think if you're talking about any stoner movies, you have to give Seth Rogen, the nod. Pineapple Express, This Is the End. I could go on. Those movies are hilarious. I really like Pineapple Express. It was kind of like the stoner movie of my generation.
First of all, I think it's, quite frankly, a movie that will always hold up. And the final scene in that movie, I think is just a classic comedy scene when they're talking about, wait, you were in a car chase? And you know what I mean? You never saw that in an action movie. Everybody just did what they did and it was forgotten about. Right. And it's like if I would have said to, Chris, wait, in Austin, you were hanging out off a building?
I'm like, everyone keeps their injuries and they're very present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Normally you don't really see that in an action or a comedy. You have to actually deal with the consequences of the injuries. But in Pineapple Express, the scene when they're in the fucking woods and they get over paranoid and he chucks the cell phone and they're running in the woods like that. I saw that with my girlfriends and we all got high beforehand, and that was like one of those stereotypical, like, I can't believe how silly and ridiculous this moment was.
Right.
And I was like crying, laughing, going like, is it this funny, or like, are we just wrapped up in this moment? But I mean, it was one of the hardest I've laughed in a movie theater.
I forgot too that I would get high when I was a kid before most comedies. Like I didn't go into a comedy as not being high. And I remember the Python movies for me were acid movies to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tripped for
Jeez, that seems intense for Python movies.
Oh man, it was the best thing that ever fucking happened. And I remember my friend Berkey, we were fucking laughing so hard at the knight who was getting the fucking his limbs cut off, right? And my friend used to do this like crazy laugh. He'd be like, hee, hee, hee. I mean, really, I can't even come close to it. But it sounded like a fucking crazy, like elfin wizard was laughing, right? And he had a big red beard and shit, even when we were in high school, right? So we're fucking tripping balls. We're laughing so hard at that scene. And then he got up on top of the chair and faced the audience. It was going, and like people were also laughing at that. It was like a weird positive heckle. He used to do that a lot. I saw him do it on we were on an airplane, right? We were coming back literally from Humboldt County. That's a whole nother story. And we're flying over like Denver, and the fucking plane had just hit these giant fucking clouds and took a big like fall in the sky, one of those things like you go down 1,000 feet, because we were battling through this fucking Rocky Mountain thunderstorm, right? But we're so young, we're like 17 or 18 that nothing, you know what I mean? It was all like funny to us. And then he got up on his fucking chair and started doing that, the fucking, but he would stand up backwards.
He go Nike.
Yeah, that was his big thing. He go Nike, which meant you went to a school that was special needs. Hey, Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Cool.
It's not a movie, but I just wanted to know if you remember the Pot Brownie episode of Barney Miller. Still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I will tell you I don't, and I would love to go back if Hulu if somebody has them to watch some Barney Millers, because that was a funny show. Yeah.
Straight people on weed is some of the funniest things you've ever seen.
You know what? A show that I've never seen, I don't even think in my life, was the Bruce Willis Moonlighting show. That was really popular in the 80s.
I've never seen that.
And he had won an Emmy Award and stuff. This is before he became a movie star. And I've been curious of where I can see it streaming, if anybody knows. 844-ROCKOUT, 844-ROCKOUT, help me with my streaming needs.
I rewatched it, but I had to order the DVDs on Netflix.
I don't want a DVD.
I don't even know if I have a DVD player. I guess I do, that I play video games. Because I don't like to fucking download the video game.
No, that's ridiculous. And then they make you update it constantly.
Yeah, I don't want to constantly update shit.
Wait, you don't buy like Madden? Like you don't buy like a disc anymore?
You can, but it's for older people.
That's for me then. Because people just fucking download Madden?
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is shocking to me.
And I don't want to play anybody else in Madden because they quit all the time. Give me the fucking computer. I'm not going to... You think you're in a fucking playing a video game, you're playing with a child, too. It's as close as you can get to getting in real trouble. Like, somebody could come to your house. Were you just playing a video game with a 7-year-old?
I don't think I was.
I might have. Did you tell him to suck on your dick? Because that's a child you're talking to. Yeah, I don't want any part of that. I want to be cut off. I'm off the grid. Chuck in Boston.
The most creative pot scene in any movie has to be 9 to 5 when these three girls smoke the joint, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, and then Jane Fonda, and then they fantasize about how they would kill their boss.
You know what's funny? And that's a really good thing. Do you know how many times that has come up in movies that the straight-edge people, one of them will have a joint and it just changes the tone of the movie?
Right.
You know, because they're like, yeah, I'll smoke some of that marijuana with you. And people are fucking running through the woods and shit. I'm going to try to think of that Ben Stiller movie where he was looking for his adopted parents and one of the FBI agents got fucking dosed with acid. It's really a fucking funny movie.
It is a good movie. It's called... Shit. It's gonna...
Oh, I know why. The parents are Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
And the guy from MASH, I think, is in it.
Oh, Nalda?
Yeah. Yeah, they're the parents. And they have Ben Stiller and like, yeah, we gave you away and shit. And the other son is this weirdo who got really fucking, pissed off that suddenly the new brother shows up. So he doses everybody with acid. He thinks he's dosing fucking Ben Stiller. Hey, John, what's up?
Hey, it's me.
Hey.
You guys are forgetting about the whole opening scene to Up in Smoke.
Where
it's like, your mother and I want you to cozy up to the Finkelstein boy.
Yeah, that, but it doesn't even fucking, I mean, that's hilarious, but doesn't come close where Cheech and Chong meet each other.
Yeah. On
there. And they're fucking eating pills. Like, everyone talks about them, the weed guys, but there was all kinds of pills done. And those things, they snorted shit. It was everything but heroin, the way I remember it.
Flirting with Disaster.
Yeah, that's the name of that movie. Didn't do well, and there's parts of the movie that don't work well, but it's a funny movie. Mike in Jersey.
Yeah, pretty much any scene has a Harold and Kumar's.
Harold and Kumar was like one that came out when I was in college, and it was like a big... People would be watching Harold and Kumar. You'd walk into a situation, like you go into your friend's apartment, everyone would be smoking, watching Harold and Kumar. Like, hey, do you want to hang out? And you're like, no, good. Like, you guys go ahead. Seems like you're already deep in this.
But that was really of its time. Like, you don't, you know what I mean? Like, the Seth Rogen movies live on, but that Harold and Kumar don't. And what was the other one was very close? I think it was like, Dude, Where's My Car?
Ashton Kutcher, yeah.
And who was with him?
Stifler.
Stifler was in that. Stifler was a major fucking movie star
He
for a
was.
while.
What happened to Stifler? He was in everything.
We keep calling him Stifler.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is hard to grow past that in your career if everyone's still calling you Stifler.
But that fucking hockey movie Goon that he did was fucking hilarious and great. He's better than the way time remembers him. James in Tennessee. James.
Hey, it's the wake-up scene in How High with Method Man doing the back and forth with the joint with Du Hast in the background.
That's really fucking funny.
There's also a great scene in that where they get like some straight guy like just totally stoned, and then he orders a pizza and just rolls the pizza up like it's a joint and starts eating it, which that would be quite innovative.
Well, Chris, I don't want you to listen to this because Mother's Day is coming up, and as you know, you don't have a mom.
No, I do not.
But Vito and me and Gail and Jen all took care of our moms and made sure that she stayed alive. And if your mom is like most, she has spent a lot of sleepless nights up with you as a baby, working late on school projects, and maybe waiting by the front door a few minutes after curfew.
This Mother's Day, it's time to give it all back. A great night's sleep with a set of Boll and Branch sheets. Each set is handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. That means Boll and Branch sheets not only feel incredible, but look stunning.
Now, I'm a big Boll and Branch guy, and because Boll and Branch sells exclusively online, you don't pay that expensive retail markup. That's half the price for twice the quality. Everyone who sleeps on Boll and Branch sheets loves them, even 3 U.S. presidents. Your mom is guaranteed to love them too, and that's why that she can try them risk-free for 30 nights.
They even arrive beautifully packaged, no gift wrapping needed. This Mother's Day, give the mom in your life night after night of luxurious sleep. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set of sheets when you go to bollandbranch.com and use promo code Bennington. That's bollandbranch.com. It's spelled BOLL and branch.com, promo code Bennington.
bollandbranch.com, promo code Bennington. There are always, like, to me, stoner movies that don't even involve weed, and any surf documentary to me is a fucking stoner movie.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just a good vibe for if
Right.
you're high, but it's not. Yeah.
And a lot of those nature documentaries are the same exact way. You just be sitting there and go, dude, we should go to Bora Bora.
Yeah. That's true. Even okay, this isn't like a surf documentary, but a surf movie. Like I can even remember like being high and watching Point Break, which is both a surfer movie and it's silly and it's
But a good stoner movie is a movie that you can make fun of.
Right.
And I don't know the difference between a bad movie and a good bad movie, but that's definitely one of them. Like, if you look at that, if you're a movie reviewer, you can't give that a passing grade. You cannot. And yet the movie watching audience is like, yeah, I'm in.
Yes, I give it a passing grade. I don't because I enjoy watching it. If it's on right now, I'll watch it all the way through. And I won't, even though like you can make fun of it, I don't feel like I'm like ironically watching it because I'm having fun. You know what I mean?
There are scenes that are so bad. Like when he's just fucking jumping up on the fucking table.
Right, that's pretty
pretending
bad.
he's surfing.
Anything with War Child in it.
Yeah, the
pretty
fight
goofy.
scene with War Child, using the girl with her tits out as a fucking human shield. Nobody seems to be upset about that shootout that took place. Or bring me two. Where do they get meatball sandwiches?
I got a place of meatball sub.
Meatball sub. Give me two. It's fucking ridiculous. Or the fact that it ends with them parachuting again.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna take that guy up parachuting. He's fucking FBI. You're not gonna fucking. You're gonna split, man. You're gonna get out of there. You're not gonna think that you and him have a fucking scene. Patrick Swayze is maybe the greatest bad actor that's ever fucking lived.
I agree.
Because Roadhouse could definitely be a fucking stoner movie.
100%.
And it's fucking ridiculous. Randy, what's happening, bud?
Yeah, what about that scene from Tommy Boy when they steal that police car and it's got the nitrous oxide tanks that bust open?
Roads.
Roads.
By the way, in Austin, there's a fucking truck there, and the name of the business is Tommy Like Wingy.
Oh my God! How often do I say Tommy want wingy? Like all the time.
Yes. And we're like, should we go? We didn't have time. And plus, I had eaten fried chicken 3 fucking times down there.
Tommy wingy. And by the way, it is in Black Sheep, not Tommy Boy. The Road scene. That's actually a
good
black.
call.
Yeah, that's Black Sheep.
So they don't get high at all in Tommy Boy, right?
No, I don't.
And yet, definitely a stoner movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they ever get high.
He just drinks.
He drinks.
But the right kind of comedy is a fucking stoner movie.
Yeah.
Tom in Ohio.
Yeah, After Hours, where Griffin Dunn's talking about the papier-mâché paperweights.
Man, that's also such a paranoid movie. Have you guys ever seen it?
I don't think so.
Here's the fucking movie. So this must have came out in the 80s. And Griffin Dunn leaves. He meets this fucking hot chick, and he's going to go down and bang her. And he gets in the, I guess he takes a cab, and he somehow loses his money. It flies out the window or something. And he is stuck in weird downtown New York with weird shit going on. And he can't get home. And dude, it's like so frightening. And he's in fucking Soho. He's in Soho and he like lives in Midtown. And somehow he can't get back to Midtown. You're just, now that I live here, I'm like, dude, why don't you walk 20 blocks?
Yeah, it's not that far.
You guys have got to watch it. And I'm going to give this away. There's two guys that go around and they're fucking stealing shit. They're fucking jacking people's apartments. And everyone down there is looking for them like they're going to fucking kill them. It's almost like a mob. And the two awful guys are Cheech and Chong. And Rosanna Arquette is in that fucking movie. And there's a weird scene with her. It's really... And Scorsese did this during the... Scorsese is in movie jail. Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Yeah, so Twister is definitely a stoner movie. You got cows flying in tornadoes. You got Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's the stoner guy.
Yeah,
he's
is.
a straight.
You never see him smoke, but like extreme, baby. Like, come on, that's a stoner character.
Jay in Mississippi.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey man, the perfect stoner movie to be stoned and watch has got to be Easy Rider.
Well, Easy Rider is such a strange thing, and the fact that Cheech and Chong told us today that they kind of based their movie on a comedy version of Easy Rider. But Easy Rider, it came out in '69, which, Hollywood hadn't embraced any kind of drug stuff. And it starts with a major fucking coke deal.
Yeah.
That they make the money and then they have the money to travel. That's the thing. That's our two heroes. Bring fucking coke into the country and sell it to a fucking rich guy who would later turn around and kill a woman in his fucking house in real life. So, I mean, it's a really it's a dark
Super
version
dark,
of drugs. The acid goes sideways.
Right. And not a happy ending.
No.
Being
not a happy middle
user.
either when the fucking rednecks catch up with Jack Nicholson. I mean, to me, that's heartbreaking. They just drop it, And even like going to the communes, you're like, oh, this shit isn't working. You want it to be peace and love, but this is kind of like homeless. Jeff in Jersey.
How you doing, Ronnie? How about the airplane pilot in Fandango with Kevin Costner as a 50-year-old college graduate?
Fandango is a good movie, though. I hadn't seen that in years.
I love the movie.
Who directed that film?
I do not know.
Because I think that was, a bunch of UT people, right? That was the idea of it.
Kevin Reynolds?
All right, yeah. And this was like something that he had written in high school. And you might want to go back.
Welcome back to Bennington. Ron Bennington's going back home to New Jersey. That's happening this weekend. It's Friday, April 27th and Saturday, April 28th in New Brunswick, New Jersey at the Stress Factory. 2 shows each night, 7:45 p.m., 9:30 p.m. StressFactory.com for tickets.
I've decided I'm going to work blue.
Really?
That's exciting.
Are they going to like that in your hometown?
Hey, what do I care? Dicks and farts. That's the name of my new album.
That'll sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just said, too bad you can't fart out your dick.
I love it.
And by the way, if your bourgeois friends aren't into it, let them walk the fuck out, man. What happened in the news? I've been gone a while.
Well, my most favorite thing since you've been gone was the Prince estate releasing that new original studio recording of Nothing Compares to You. It is so fucking good. Now, he had written it, gave it to Sinead O'Connor, and that was like her hit. But I had heard him do it live, but it's just so fantastic. And they have like this great video where it's like all this like rehearsal studio stuff that's just like so great that they like released it.
You want to
with.
take a second and listen to it? I've never heard this.
Yeah.
I feel weird because I know he didn't put it out, but
I know.
I think we're going to have to get used to this. This is what Prince did. Holy shit, as great as the song is, seeing that stuff from the rehearsal studio, it's up on the iBang. Prince's estate releases original studio recording. That stuff choked me up.
I know. It's crazy because it's so cool to see him doing that because you can see him having so much fun playing around with all his stage moves and just like still in like what you would expect to be full costume, but that's just Prince at rehearsal,
right?
Which is just blows your mind. And
but here's the other thing too. It's like not choreographed by somebody else. It's him figuring out how he feels about this movie. It's much closer to James Brown
yes,
than
100%.
it is to Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson.
100%. Yes, it was reminding me very much of that. Plus, he is just like sex personified in a human being.
Well, he's got, that thing of, yes, he's black and he's white, he's a man and he's a woman. It's that whole thing that you want in a rock star, and then he's so comfortable in his physical body. But I was thinking, all right, there he is ruining his hips, is why he ended up getting addicted to drugs.
Right, exactly.
That shit that he did took his toll, like he was playing for the Minnesota Vikings.
Absolutely. And I love this recording so much. Like I said, I had heard him do it live before, but it was so cool to hear it as like a full studio recording. I had chills, and I've listened to it 30 times this weekend, and I still had chills just listening to it right now.
It's really, really strong. Prince. Irreplaceable.
Yes.
Irreplaceable.
And this is we just passed just 2 years?
2 years.
Since he passed. So they released this earlier.
You go back to that thing that when George Harrison died and he and Tom Petty did My Guitar Gently Weep. And then both those guys are gone, and both of it because of, this fucking fentanyl or whatever this shit is called. Hey, this is pretty scary. Out of Toronto, 8 to 10 people have been hit by a van that apparently went up on a sidewalk. Obviously, you're thinking terrorism right off the bat, but I haven't heard that definitively. And also, while we're doing this, they arrest at the Waffle House gunman, the weirdo naked Waffle House gunman, a mile away from that Waffle House. They haven't been able to catch him all this time.
Yeah, I thought that was so crazy because that guy didn't go far.
Probably had a buddy or something that he could go to.
Also, actually, this happened over the weekend as well. Milo Yiannopoulos, he was in New York City at a bar.
Well, explain who he is, because not everybody goes to Breitbart. I mean, he is. I know to you, he seems like he's a mainstream guy, but I would say most people don't know him.
He was a blogger and an editor at Breitbart, and he was part of the alt-right movement. And then the last thing he did was he got a lot of heat for being on the Bill Maher show last year.
He's a gay kid who was kind of anti-gay, and he's married to a black guy, but he's kind of anti-black. He's, I don't know whether he's a troll or what you would do,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
hard
just
to
seems
really-
like,
You feel like you're being played kind of when you hear
it ties
his
into
gimmick.
that Alex Jones stuff, like how much of that is just wrestling.
Character, yeah.
But how, when you're doing serious subjects as wrestling, you know what I mean? Like it's a weird deal to be involved in. All right, this is him, and this is another reason why the left is annoying me too. I mean, why can't this guy go in and eat somewhere? Because that's all he was doing, and it looks like it's in an English pub. in Manhattan. But listen to the chants.
Scum, get out! Nazi scum, get out! Nazi scum, get out! Nazi scum, get out! Nazi scum, get out!
All right. They seem like the bad parents in Hairspray. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Segregation never.
Like, do a little better for yourself.
Yeah.
Have some kind of passion.
Look, unfortunately, Nazis need to eat as well. They need to go somewhere.
I'm just... I mean, I think it's time we stop now. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Because I was talking to some people that don't live in Austin this week, and I'm just trying to figure out, man, why do they think Trump is doing a good job when the other side thinks he's doing the worst job ever? Why do they have a hate for Mueller before we even see Mueller's report? I just want this country just to take a breath every once in a while.
Yeah, it's emotions are so high. And especially
24 hours a day. It's like a hot summer, even in the winter, you know?
And so it's such a hot button thing that's happening now, even like among families. Like talking politics among families has always been tense. I don't feel like it's ever been tenser in my life.
Yeah. And we have to remember, I saw Delaware Joe, our old VP, on TV the other day. And he brought up in 1968 that in Wilmington, Delaware, the National Guard had to come in and stayed in that city for 9 months. And remember, I told you when I was a little kid, we were going to the beach and we went through a riot in Wilmington, Delaware. You were just down there this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like saying, I would have been there. It's a pound for pound murder fucking scene.
Wow.
Now. And always has been. And, you know, I saw a riot through my windows as a little kid, and it was like Indians on the sidewalks bleeding, ghosts. You know what I mean? Like I was that dumb, where my parents were like not even explaining it all to me. I'm like, what's going on? And they had rolled up the windows, and we didn't have air conditioning in our car. I don't know what they thought the windows were going to protect us from, but the police were like holding us so they could clear a path for all the cars to drive through the riot, and it wasn't safe for. And I could see fires down the street and shit. And to this day, I don't know what the fuck happened. I thought it had to do with Martin Luther King, and I brought it up to my mom once, and she thought it had to do with some kind of, there was a busing strike or whatever. But whatever was happening during those times in the late 60s, a riot would break out. And, you know, that shit is not where you want to be, you know? And, you know, even now, it's like you should say a prayer that nobody shoots anybody of extreme importance when you have politics going on. You know what I mean? Because people can lose it during that. And that's what happened in the late 60s. So we always say this is the worst time ever. But we've had some bad fucking times in this country, and you don't want to live in them.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in bad, violent times. I mean, a lot of people forget that there was a civil war in this country. And Axl Rose was the one that, he turned me around on it. He said, what's so civil about a war anyway? I go, Axl, I'm fucking with you, dude.
Good point.
Then he also said, take me down to the Paradise City. Yeah, that thing, to me, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's just Nazi scum, get out. There wasn't even any passion to it.
I used to speak to Milo every day when I worked for...
when you used to go out with him?
When I worked for Breitbart News.
You know what? That's a Me Too thing, because I shamed him.
You need to 2018 this shit.
I can't, because I've been around for 1918. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to change. You used to talk to Milo about what?
Every day he had to call in for Bannon's show. Yeah. So I had to deal with him on the phone. And he was the only one that was really difficult about how Steve Bannon would put people on hold for an hour, even though they had a scheduled appearance. And he would be like, can you just call me when it's my turn? And I was like, you know he doesn't do that, man.
How could that be difficult? I'm not going to wait for anybody either. I don't like to say, I'm going to be on your show, and I don't want our guests ever to have to wait.
But he wasn't a guest. He was just one of the editors who had to call in every
That's
day.
still a guest.
Yeah, that's a guest. It's a featured guest spot.
Yeah. That'd be like me saying, think of some comic we know well. That doesn't.
Joe List.
All right, let's acting like Joe List isn't. Why should Joe List not be treated as good as Cheech and Chong? Or, Chris Stanley, why was Chong not treated as good as Cheech?
I ran everything by his people. No one pointed out Chong's choice to me.
It just seems like you're just a little bit more
Even
Cheech
Cheech
than
was
Chong.
upset. And then Chong was like, why am I on that list? But he was serious, too.
I felt really bad about that because I love Cheech and Chong. I don't want to make tough.
Apparently you love Cheech.
Cheech more.
I love them equally.
Everybody can pick their own favorite. My favorite is Chong.
I think my youth was Cheech, and now I'm Chong.
Well, you see how much Chong likes us. Chong thinks of us as family. Tommy's sweet. And then so I had known Tommy when they were broke up, right? And then they came in as Cheech and Chong here once, the Sirius. And Tommy's coming over me and hugging me, and he always asks, like, hey, you ever hear from it? And I'll say, guys, I was like the bartender at the club. You know what I mean? Like, he remembers everybody
That's so sweet.
from the club. And then after the interview, Cheech comes over to me, and he shakes my hand, he pulls me in close, and he goes like this. Yeah, man, I remember you from L.A. And I guess he was just sitting around. Who the fuck is this guy? How do we know him? Cheech is great, man. I had one of my favorite Unmasked with him.
Yeah.
I've done a Cheech, a Chong, and a Cheech and Chong. And if I would have known this thing was coming up, I would have gone out and done a 40th anniversary with them because I love that fucking movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
And they're so fun to be, like I said, like just having them walk in here, like immediately, I was like, oh my God, it really is like a cartoon or something, like some pop culture thing, like come to life. It's very weird being around them.
And how many people are like that? I felt that like that when, like Tim Conway came in with Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence, and the three of them sat here, and I was fucking like, I just saw my aunts and uncles that I haven't seen since I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much they're in this. And I was thinking about this too, because when you're in Texas, even if you're not from Texas, there's something in your DNA about Texas. I always think New York City, California, and Texas are things that people relate to all the time because it's been in movies and TV shows so much.
And they're like kind of almost personality, like archetypes.
They're still archetypes, yeah. But, you know, the bonfire showed up in cowboy hats and dusters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny about Austin, you don't see any fucking cowboy hat in Austin.
No, it's not really their
It's
scene.
not a cowboy hat town. Yet for some reason, Nashville's packed full of cowboy hats, and there's not a cowboy thing in Nashville. There are not people raising cattle in Nashville, and they go fucking cowboy crazy.
They do, yeah. They're like, they have a little bit more of the glitzy cowboy thing that they do.
Rhinestone cowboy, I used to call it many, many years ago. Like a rhinestone cowboy. The Toronto police have arrested the suspect who ran over 11 people, just plowed into pedestrians in Toronto. And again, we don't know whether it's an act of terrorism, a bad, drunk driver. I don't have the information yet, but you immediately do think, terrorism. Hey, Blake in Texas.
Hey, Ronnie, I was down in Austin this weekend.
Yeah.
There was a really weird political rally. They were screaming, fuck fake ketchup.
I think that's going to catch on. I think that.
What is that?
I think FFK is going to be a hat that the kids are going to be using. I think Conway West might even put that in a new video. Thanks, Blake. But I have to tell you that Conway West is the right wing guy. I find to be just hilarious and cool. What is he just trying to pull attention no matter what?
Who, Kanye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just a gimmick. Like, I don't know. I guess he's so weird that who even knows what Kanye is thinking?
Nobody knows where he's coming from. All I know is if you think you like Kanye West, please go listen to the Spinners. It's so much better. Please listen to the black people sing. I can't believe we're wrapping up this first show back. I know this was difficult for you, Gail.
I know, it's hard. I feel like I'm so out of control.
Yeah. Well,
I'm used to this being my command center over here.
I'm sorry we didn't have any citrus and melon for you. And Vito, I'm sorry that you didn't get to talk about tampoonies or whatever on your mind right now.
Tampoonies.
Do you feel fake that everybody busted you doing that?
No, I was just being me. I was just talking about.
You
chat.
can be gay here now.
I'm not gay, dude. Just be gay.
Well, you can be effeminate here.
I am effeminate here.
No, you're not. You are not. You're constantly talking about Roman Reigns.
I hate Roman Reigns.
Huh?
I hate Roman Reigns.
Yes, that's still talking about him.
Pro Kevin Owens, AJ Styles.
I don't know who any of those people are.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Kevin Owens is just an overweight man who wrestles.
Why didn't you fucking bring up that Bruno passed away? Without Bruno, there's none of this shit.
I know.
I didn't think we were gonna hit it that day.
You could have brought it to me. I would have liked to pay tribute to Bruno.
I love Bruno. I have a signed Bruno poster at home.
I'm trying to think. I remember when I was a little kid and I was watching Bruno Sammartino and Andre the Giant.